things that they are saying makes me wonder why anyone would want to do this. Passion is something that comes from within. It's an individual thing. It can't be taught. And making a child, the evidence is way too clear. This is a bad idea. And it certainly doesn't help when big businesses, in this video, I'll be discussing a slightly sensitive subject regarding sports specialization. In the past decade, the numbers are suggesting that this is not only unproductive, but a little bit dangerous. I'm Coach Johnny, and this is Johnny's Kids, a channel designed to remind all of us that the game belongs to them. The newest trend in youth sports over the last couple of decades was the idea that specializing a child in a specific sport would somehow prepare them for whatever the next level was. Now, this is hard for me to come at you with because I've always been a big advocate of not telling people how to raise their kids, and that's not what I'm doing here. So I'm in a pretty safe place here to at least voice my opinion, both as a parent and a coach. Coaches and parents both are the driving force for this, and we have a responsibility to these children to make sure that we're doing it for all the right reasons. Any deviation from doing it from them can be incredibly destructive. I never really considered putting my child into any given sport to play year-round. I've seen videos online of professional baseball players out loud have said that they wouldn't play any sport year-round. In fact, one particular baseball player said, "Why would you?" When you go online and you start doing the research on this, the numbers and the things that professionals, doctors, psychologists, the things that they are saying, it makes me wonder why anyone would want to do this. Trying to prepare a child for what you label as the next level is, generally speaking, a bad idea for a child that's still growing. Passion is something that comes from within. It's an individual thing. It can't be taught. And making a child play year-round sets them up for numerous different repetitive injuries, stress injuries, boredom, burnout. None of those things are going to drive passion. And most of the passion comes once they learn how to do a series of different things. Then they figure out which sport is right for them, what drives them. And we should be nurturing that. When you play a particular sport, you strengthen specific muscle groups, specific joints. And if that's all you do, then all it takes is one bad move using the wrong muscle group or the wrong joint, and you instantly have an injury. This is why playing a variety of sports is actually better. And there's a lot of science that backs this up. In case you're wondering, what about the athletes that are professionals now? Didn't they just play a single sport growing up? If you look at here, you can see that Steph Curry specifically says he also played baseball, football, soccer, and basically everything else in a sports buffet. Anyone who followed Michael Jordan knows that Michael Jordan also played football and baseball. I had a parent, true story, I had a parent one time say, when I said to him that I coach a certain way to teach 6-year-olds how to understand and love the game, because they're not pros, they're not professional football players. His exact words to me with a straight face were, "Not yet." Based on the numbers, I can say with some degree of confidence to him and to any parent of a 6, 7, 8-year-old, your kid's not going pro. Is that an absolute? Of course it's not. Otherwise, we'd never have any professional athletes. But based on the numbers, it is suggested that 1 in 200,000 kids will go pro. And of those, not very many of them have long careers. But if you're wondering what that looks like, that is 0.000005. The odds are in my favor. So instead of thinking about your 6, 7, 8-year-old playing a single sport through his entire childhood, all the way through his adolescence, and then maybe someday going pro, how about you let a child be a child and let them have fun? Let them find their passion. Let them find the sport that they want to play. Just because you're good at a specific sport doesn't mean you actually enjoy playing that sport year-round. Most kids, and this is not all kids, but most kids actually enjoy playing a variety of sports for many different reasons, especially when they're very young. Especially when it allows them to create a camaraderie with a group of friends who bounce from one sport to another. This helps strengthen a series of muscle groups and joints while giving other muscle groups and joints a break to recover and strengthen before it comes back around the following year and doing it all over again. It's basically wash, rinse, repeat, progressively making them stronger, increasing their ability to play all sports, and finding their passion. And parents and coaches should really take into consideration that the people who are already there are not there because they played this one sport their entire lives. Forcing this onto a child comes with very bad consequences. I will put links in the description. You can hear it from other professionals, mostly through TED Talks is where I found a lot of this information. But if your kid is not already playing year-round, at least do the research and see if this is really a road you really want to go down. Tony Gonzalez, who was a Hall of Fame tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, says that his success is due in large part from the years that he spent playing basketball, that it helped him become a better football player. There have been numerous football players who have said that you can tell when a punt returner played baseball in his earlier years, specifically the outfield, just based on how he positions his body when he's trying to catch a ball. There are not a lot of athletes at the collegiate level or at the pro level who only played a single sport. If you don't want to believe me, you can easily look online and do a search on Urban Meyer when he coached Ohio State. This image actually went viral at one point because it is truly eye-opening. Granted, it was almost 10 years ago, but in the image, you can clearly see that Ohio State recruits that particular year, 42 of them played multiple sports. 42. This is the national champion team, and only 5 of those players were single sport athletes. The evidence is way too clear. This is a bad idea, and it certainly doesn't help when big businesses are commercializing the idea of single sports. They say they don't because they're not targeting the children. Of course they're not targeting the children, they're targeting the parents. Because that's an easy sell. Everybody wants what's best for their kid. Everybody. Mostly everybody. But the specialization of sports is killing what used to be magical when I was a kid. The pickup game, the sandlot game. The one place I think that it's affected the least, and I speak from a person who does not live in this part of the country, I could be wrong, but it feels like the one area that's affected the least by this, the northern states, and of course almost all parts of Canada, where pond hockey is still pond hockey, and there's no big business that's ever going to be able to take that away from them. But some of us that live south, we don't have that. I live in Florida. A lot of people who live, say, Arizona, New Mexico, South Texas, they don't have pond hockey ever. So the kids play other sports. But when you give people the option of either going to a traveling team or staying local and playing at the rec center, you basically removed everything that's in between. The private clubs are the ones that take the hits. The Y, meaning the YMCA, they're the ones who take the hit, forcing parents to pick one or the other. And generally speaking, what you end up with is the kids with the traveling teams and the kids who have money. Now, kids sports has become an arena of the haves and have-nots. That never existed when I was a kid. I don't know when that started, but it's a terrible thing. In a pre-COVID world, it was suggested that 70% of all children that are actively playing sports now will quit playing sports altogether by the age of 13. 70%. In a post-COVID world, the numbers are still coming in, and the numbers are worse. Now it's not 13, now it's 10 and a half. By the 5th grade, kids are quitting sports altogether. So just keep in mind, just because a kid is traveling and playing a sport that they're good at doesn't mean that they're having fun. Does not guarantee them a scholarship in college, which only between 1 and 3% of kids ever actually get a scholarship. Some kids don't even want to go to college. Something else to consider. Ask yourself the question before you put your child on a traveling team. Is this what's in the best interest of the child, or is this just something that you want? There is a huge difference, and it comes at a huge price if you get it wrong. Now, specifically to the coaches who coached any of the traveling teams, I have to ask, and if anyone knows the answer, please put something in the comments or send me an email at coachjohnny@johnnyskidz.com. Are you coaching because you're trying to create a better athlete? Or are you coaching to win? Because it would seem to me, and again, not being a traveling team coach, I could be wrong, but your value to be able to coach these teams is almost entirely based on whether or not you're winning. If you're not winning, then you're no value to that child through the eyes of the parents. And again, this is something where the parents are being targeted. If you're coaching a traveling team, it's taking away your ability to create a solid contributor to society. I could be wrong. If I am, please chime in. I would love to have this conversation and maybe make another video to dig deeper into it. But I've come from a place where I coach the kids because I want to create children of character that they grow with dignity and integrity and empathy and contribute back to society, to learn the value of camaraderie, to learn that it's more important to compete than it is to win. I know I don't stand alone. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you made it this far, thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share, or send me an email. In the description, I'll include other ways that you can support the channel. All support is always appreciated. Thank you, and have a blessed day.